Would like to continue this interesting story a bit more. Actually, this will take us a few more times before we can get into the crux of the problem. Okay. All right. So let me review what we have gone through last time. So remind you the main point so that you understand this a little bit better. So first of all, the last message is that we know that both Adam and Eve hiding in the garden from God. Okay. The key trouble that both Adam and Eve is they choose to violate the rules in such a way that they disconnect with God. This disconnection causing a lot of trouble. The number one is they're supposed to know how the gardens work perfectly. Essentially know everything that's going to happen tomorrow, next day or something. Or even they don't know about exactly what's going to happen. They know that they're going to be enjoying the garden. Okay? Because the God will tell them that how to take care of the garden with God together. It was because they no longer communicate with God. The trouble is that they started to use their eyes and their mind. They no longer use their heart. Because the way that we communicate with God is using our heart, not our eye and mind. This is only the helping us to communicate with God. The key organs, okay, is our heart, not the eye, not our brain. Okay. So, because once we no longer able to follow God with our heart, then basically they are living in an uncertainty, no peace, or fear. Because you no longer know what's going to happen next. So, because also you're not connected with God, then no one can help you. Okay, here the passage, Genesis chapter 3, verse 7, is right before the passage we studied last time. And also this one is right after they eaten the forbidden fruit. Now, this is the interesting passage that's right in between these two cases, okay? And let's take a look and see what happened, okay? So then the eyes of both of them were open, and they realized that they were naked. So they sewed fig leaves together and make coverings for themselves. Now, here I want to quickly explain that open means, okay? Now, it doesn't mean that they were living blinded, okay, before that. No. What does that mean is that they basically didn't pay attention that they actually like it, all right? So it's very easy to understand this passage this way is that when we were a kid, okay, the kid doesn't quite care about you're the boy or girl, okay? And even they all running naked, okay? Even to the parents may feel a little shame, but the kid have no feeling at all because they don't feel shame of their own body. Okay. Now in the Bible, right before this, God mentioned that God created Eve from Adam's, and He put them together as one flesh. All right. So after they become a husband and wife, it's become one flesh. So if you're one flesh, why you care you are naked? Well, you shouldn't care. But suddenly, why they care about the naked? Now, this is the issue, okay, carried out from our spirituality separation between God and man. Okay, how does it, come about? Now, this is the time that I would like to share with you. Now, first of all, here they make the leaves coverings for themselves. What is the main crime in here? Why are they covering themselves? Now, the main crime is they both eating the forbidden fruit. Okay? Not about they are naked. But why they covering themselves first? Last time, we know that they are hiding from God. Okay? Because they no longer using their heart to work with God anymore. Because they choose to eat in the forbidden fruit. So their relationship basically broken. And this separation from God also reflected here. So, first of all, they having the covering to cover themselves. As I said, they're supposed to be one flesh. But why they need to cover themselves? Besides they are one flesh, and they also one heart. So what we see is a bonding couple, and we know that they have one heart. Now it's no longer one flesh, one body. Now it's become two bodies because they're covering themselves. So it's from one become two. Now, from the body-wise, we know that it's from one body and to two bodies. How about the heart? It's no longer one heart. It's two hearts. Because they no longer use their heart to see God, they also don't use the same heart to see each other. So that's why they separated. So this is the behavior right after they eaten the forbidden fruit. They already have the broken relationship at the same time with broken relationship with God all at once. So number 8 and number 7, they are essentially talk about the same thing. One is on the spiritual side, the other is talk about the relationship side. These two are mirror image. Okay. Here I also want to bring up one point because it's right at the verse 7 that why they doing the same thing. Now, think about it. Now, Eve is the one who eating the fruit first. Adam is the second hand fruit. All right. In some way or form, you may blame Eve more than Adam. Okay. So, well, if someone who breaking the relationship with God is supposed to be Eve, not Adam, right? So, well, then who's supposed to feel shame? Supposed to be Eve, not Adam. But here we know that they both, okay, doing the same thing, okay? So it's obviously they both guilty of the same sin. So I just want to express that this is not a one-person issue. It's the both-person issue. They actually doing the same thing. And even though it looks like it's oh, come on, it's just eating one fruit, right? You know, what a big deal. But if we go down a little bit further, you know that this is not just simply because I'm just, I can't stand, so attractive the fruit is that I want to eat, having a bite. This is not the motivation. Okay, the true motivation is that you will need to go deeper before you understand. Once you understand their true motivation, you will understand they are so ugly. Okay, now I want to get into the deeper level. Okay, deeper level into this is the last message that we see that once they sin, right, they already hiding away from God. Do you think you can hide from God? Probably not. Because, well, from your eye, from your mind, you don't see Him. But why they hiding from God? Using this way. This is somehow reflecting their spiritual problem, but by using their behavioral problem. So what I say one more time is that their spiritual problem somehow reflected in their behavioral problem. Their true problem is they eating the forbidden fruit, not because they are naked, but they choose to hiding their body in a way that to feel like they hiding from their spiritual problem. Okay, now so this is the interesting is if your heart, okay, I'm not talking about your heart attack and that type of heart problem, but the problem is in your heart. You should address it in using your heart, okay, not to use the other behavior to cover it up. So the way that they hide from each other using the fig leaves is reflecting their spiritual problem. Their spiritual problem is much more serious than their physical problem. Now you see that when we have a spiritual discrepancy, okay, with God, it will reflect it in our behavior. Not the other way around. Not because you accidentally, breaking something and then now you have the sin. No, it is because you have the sin. You're making that mistake. All right? So it looks like Adam and Eve having a trouble with God, but actually also reflecting, in reality, this broken relationship also appear between them. Do you see that? So when we, having an issue with God, okay, if our heart no longer, okay, align with God, because we also don't use the heart to see our partner or other people, okay? It doesn't have to be a family, it could be in a workplace and many other places. If you no longer use our heart to treat other people, this discrepancy also amplify. And because this amplify, you're making more mistake, and then now your heart is getting even having bigger problem, all right? Because we start to judge people by what they did wrong. We seldom see other people did right, okay? Most of the time that we pick up people doing something wrong, okay? And this is amplify, okay? So I would like to use maybe one example and try to conclude, okay? Our discussion today is that, every family have their house rules, right? So in my family, have a house rule is that after you eat your dinner, you should pull the chair back to the table, okay? Don't have the chair all lying around the table and look like it's a mess, right? But this is not my family tradition, before we get married, okay? This might be my wife's tradition, okay? And then, okay, so yeah, no big deal, okay? After we have a dinner, then, okay, we pull the chair back into the table. But because this is not my habit, and occasionally I don't do it, okay? And sometimes, okay, she would do this for me, but because I'm so absent-minded that sometimes she explicitly not putting it back and see whether I notice it, okay? And then I do it, okay? Sometimes I recognize that, okay? Yeah, you can read, your wife's mind by looking at the chair, okay? Not putting the chair back to the table is the small thing, okay? Nothing big. But if she helped you to put the chair back explicitly somehow, she know, okay? She helped you. And you also behave not knowing, okay? Not recognize it. All right. Then let me ask you, is the first seed bigger than the next one? Obviously, the second one is bigger than the first one, okay? Because first, now we both know that you didn't put the chair back to the table, all right? And you didn't make it clear that, hey, I help you. You didn't recognize someone helped you, okay? And also, you didn't recognize that you make a mistake. And just you behave like nothing happened. These three, okay, people can tell you having this three more problems than the first one. First one is absent-minded, is innocent, but the next three is premeditated, okay? Unless you speak it out, you two have a slight, differences in their heart, okay? You will always think, why you didn't admit it, okay? It's supposed to, if you speak it out, yeah, no big deal, Then now we're back into this, one heart. But if you keep doing this, then now the not admitting that you did something wrong, this will actually pulling two hearts apart. Right? Non-united heart, that you start to see the differences between two hearts and somehow reflected in our daily life. And more, it will give you more chance to making the heart further apart, and then you causing the bigger problem. You will see this vicious cycle happen all the time and making two relationships broken. Exactly like this, okay? So when we see things, we always looking at what is your true motivation, what your heart is thinking, why are you thinking this way? Choose to do one thing, not the other. And this spiritual issue in our heart somehow reflected in our behavior. So I do see that many people are addressing this issue by stopping you from making a mistake or tightening you up or things. Never help. Because the true issue is in the heart, not in your behavior. And in fact, actually, the problem between two persons, actually, if you want to solve it, you should solve it how you reconcile with God first. The discrepancy between you and God, and this issue reflected in your personal relationship. If you want to fix the personal relationship, first fix your relationship with God first. Usually, when you fix that, the personal problem also get fixed. All right. So I hope that this is a quite profound understanding about they actually reflecting the discrepancy with God. It reflected into their separation. Okay. I hope that this makes sense to you. All right. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Okay. See you next time.